Hi guys, MVC here, and today we're going to be taking a look at a brand new product from Creative Sound Blaster and pairing it with an XLR microphone from Audio Technica. This is the Creative Sound Blaster K3 Plus, a USB powered XLR interface with the ability to record to both PC and mobile on the go. It's geared towards streamers, singers, podcasters, and pretty much anybody else you could think of, including competitive players. Now, to pair with it, Audio Technica have kindly provided their AT4040, which is a large diaphragm side address cardioid condenser microphone. This mic additionally features a high pass filter and -10 decibel pad on its base, which if you're somebody that records louder sounds such as drums and guitar, you might find to be incredibly useful. The AT4040 comes bundled with a well-built shock mount and dust cover, and then I've additionally purchased an inexpensive compact pop filter that I saw PewDiePie use and a solid XLR cable from Amazon to complete the package. It's mounted on my Rode PSA-1 boom arm and replaces both an AT2020 USB Plus and Rode NT USB. Now, the Sound Blaster K3 Plus attempts to bridge that gap between a standard USB interface and a more powerful mixer in a relatively small form factor. It comes in at just 160mm in both width and height and 55mm in depth. The only downside here is that it doesn't come with a stand, as I would like to prop it up at a slight angle, but you could purchase one later. Now, I'll link the specs for both products in the video description, but we'll be looking at this combination from the perspective of a competitive FPS player, Twitch broadcaster, and esports commentator. Now, on the front of the K3 Plus, you'll find two XLR or TRS combo inputs with optional 48V phantom power, a 1/4-inch high-Z guitar input, and two 1/4-inch headphone outputs with independent 300 ohm headphone amplifiers and volume control. The K3 Plus supports a 24-bit 96kHz output as well, which alone make it a viable alternative to a sound card, but in that respect do note you're not provided with SPX features such as a crystallizer and EQ that you'd otherwise find on a more dedicated device, such as my internal ZXR. Moving to the back of the device, you'll find your left and right RCA in and out ports for speakers, a 4-pole mobile in and out port, and a micro USB for PC connectivity, which also serves as power for mobile recording through a minimum of a 500mAh power bank. Finally, an optional grounding option is provided if your setup happens to create noise, although you'd need to purchase the cable separately. For the main interface, the K3 Plus offers independent volume control for your two XLR microphones, the second being shared with a guitar input. You're also provided with the ability to tweak a 2-pass EQ in the form of bass and treble, which is neat to have because different microphones do suit different people and thus occasionally require slight tuning to fit. Now, these won't magically give you a voice for radio, but it could help curb any harsh highs, for example, and can be incredibly useful to do whilst live rather than in post in something like Adobe Audition. That said, do bear in mind that it is shared between the two inputs, so similar microphones would be preferable in that respect. A 48V phantom power button, which will light up red when enabled, additionally provides clean power to microphones that need it, including this AT4040, which would otherwise be too quiet. For me personally, when requesting a microphone and interface, I was mostly concerned about noise levels, and here I'm happy to report there's next to zero, which would otherwise require post-editing or a VST plugin with an OBS to remove whilst live, adding to CPU load. So this pairing is quite incredible in that respect, as you can hear now with just my PC fans in the background. If needed, you can also enable the high-pass filter to roll off any frequency starting at around 80Hz to remove some of that lower end if you have anything noisy in your environment, cars driving by, small knocks, etc. It doesn't really affect vocals, so in my experience you might as well just leave it on for Twitch purposes, although for this recording we've left it disabled with just the flat signature as a point of reference. Here you will also find the line-in control for the input on the back. You could use this to connect an external device such as Spotify from your mobile phone in order to gain independent volume control outside of Windows, or you could even output desktop audio from your computer's sound card using 3.5mm cable to gain external control over the two. Do bear in mind though that in using either of these two options, you'd need to mute the desktop audio device inside of your broadcast software such as OBS or XSplit to prevent doubling up on audio. It's not that you necessarily hear it twice, but you can definitely tell. You'd then need to run a cable from your headset microphone or second microphone to provide input to your sound card for use in Discord or whatever. This is because the K3 Plus acts as a microphone in Windows and will only output once via USB. Some dedicated mixers do allow you to output different track combinations to both aux and FX, for example, but the K3 Plus unfortunately doesn't. By default, it will only output the microphone, but if you then hit the monitor FX button, it'll include everything from the effects, including Soundboard and EQ, and if you then also hit the mixing on off button, it'll include anything from the line in too. In other words, just make sure you have a spare 3.5mm extension cable to input to your motherboard or sound card line in if you go this route. Alternatively, this could serve as a good mixer for a second streaming PC, although if you are spending that kind of money, I'd probably recommend something bigger that could record or track separately, such as the PreSonus Studio Live range. The monitoring buttons to the right determine which of these you'll also hear back yourself and can be great for closed headphones and in louder environments. And I've particularly found it useful for commentary so I can hear myself in the closed headset that I use. This brings us nicely onto the Soundboard button, which lights up orange when enabled or otherwise causes the knobs to control reverb and auto-tune effects. Currently, the K3 Plus offers 6 pre-installed sound bites as follows. But you'll shortly be able to upload your own, which is especially brilliant as you could even use them in game, like this Metal Gear Solid fan from On-Screen Stream. Reverb is pretty neat, as is the auto-tune, and I imagine the more creative streamers out there could find a use if only to hum the Halo soundtrack whilst riding across the fields of Erangel with their squad in the UAZ. But my favourite feature on the K3 Plus is actually the one you'd least expect, and that's the voiceover button. When pushed down, it's primarily designed for karaoke and DJing and effectively lowers the volume of everything else, including your desktop audio. Meaning, if you're broadcasting and need to speak to chat, just toggle the button and you'll be able to answer a question or two whilst everybody else is toned down. And then if in future you personally find you need more inputs, maybe running a podcast with more than 2 people, some dynamic microphones, you'd be able to daisy chain multiple K3 Plus devices. And I personally wouldn't take advantage of that, but at least the option is there. In all, the K3 Plus does represent incredible value for money as a mini home studio or on-the-go broadcast solution. The fact that you can even connect its USB to a 500mAh power bank and record via your phone could be great if you ever find yourself recording on the go, or even if you've got a really loud all-in-one water cooler on your home PC and you need to record voiceover outside of the room you're in, you'll be able to do that and add it into the software afterwards. Moving into gaming, positional audio was on point and left to right balance was absolutely perfect, and having recently transitioned from my open HD700 headphones to a closed headset, being able to hear myself using live monitoring was a huge plus, as it was one thing I struggled with. And I'd probably liken it to Superman level hearing with the detail the microphone's able to pick up and put into my headset. And in that respect, the AT4040 is an absolute monster of a microphone for my use case, and in many ways it's probably overkill, but I suppose that's the beauty of the XLR interface. If you pick up something like the K3 Plus over a USB condenser, such as the AT2020 USB Plus, which for a point of reference is the microphone I'm now talking on, and one I actually imported from the US before it was available in Europe, then you open yourself up to hundreds of viable alternatives. So whether it's the AT2020 XLR equivalent or something better moving forward like the 2035 or 4040, perhaps a sideways move like dynamic over condenser to pick up less of this mechanical keyboard noise whilst gaming, or one with omnidirectional pickup pattern to place in the middle of a round table during a podcast, then you always have the possibility of experimenting with a wider range of options in future. Ultimately though, the Creative Sound Blaster K3 Plus and Audio Technica AT4040 are absolutely gorgeous looking products, both are incredibly well built, and I guess the point I'm getting to is that whilst I'm definitely in love with this combination, it's low noise, full sound, and just great experience for gaming and streaming, for a little over the AT4040 USB Plus price, you'd get yourself the XLR version and the ability to do more in future. So whilst you don't have to go to the extent of an AT4040, at the very least do consider, if you are purchasing a condenser or dynamic microphone, going straight to XLR rather than doing the in-between jump on USB like I did. But again, if you are just starting out on a Twitch stream, to be honest, just a good gaming headset is probably all you need until you start raking in those viewers. But I've been MVC. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you've got any questions or comments, just add them below and I'll get back to you. And again, don't forget, I stream every day on Twitch from 6 PM. More than happy to give you a live demonstration of anything we've checked out today. If you have any questions, I'll be able to discuss with them live as well. But for now, take care, keep gaming. I'll leave you with a bit of commentary from a recent Quake Live match I did, and I'll catch you next time. Take care. He's not going to be feeling too comfortable, in all honesty, to fight for this Mega. And I think he subconsciously wanted to get an above ground position on it, but he's going to pay the ultimate price. There's the frag off the spawn. Mega's waiting. Agent predicts the spawn right as well. Right. Surely going to be a frag, not quite able to get on the 15. In fact, I don't think it was up. And now this is scary. Just cast your eyes to the left of the screen. There's so much time between that lower yellow, the red and the Mega. The map control agent is about to have is just insane. Pavel really doesn't have access to a lot. That upper yellow is going to be near impossible for him to get to. In fact, the fact that Pavel's sticking around here almost is testament to the fact that he knows he doesn't really have any other options than just play aggressive. I'm going to leave the red up for a moment, Agent. He knows there's no spawn on that upper area. There was the chance that Pavel could have spawned Rocket and made his way up the stairwell, but risk going to pay off. LG to finish. But full map cycle now for Agent. He can just afford to eat railguns at this point as well, just extend the lead. He's doing well, Pavel, in this fight though. And he's got position on the 225s. Well, if there was ever a moment for Pavel, this is it.